What? شو هاد bro? روح. فيديو عندنا حريق كبير في مرفأ بيروت. لا عذراء يا عذراء البناية يا عذراء. انفجار نووي.
Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakakadash. Yahweh being the true name for the Heavenly Father. Yahushai being the name for His only begotten Son, who the Lord really calls God, and Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught me the truth and rule well. Salutations to you, hopefully pushing this truth in all honesty and sincerity. This is Brother Yahushua, coming to you the spirit power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. This lesson is going to be giving you an update more times and events, things that's going on in the world right now. As you can see, this explosion that you're seeing here is happening in Beirut, I believe in Lebanon, right? But what they're trying to blame it on, they're saying that, according to them, that this was a like a firework explosion plant that basically blew up. But there's other sources that are saying that this might have been very well been an attack as far as a bomb being let off, and it kind of does look like that as far as the magnitude of the explosion, but what this is doing, man, this is putting the fear of the Lord in these people to show you that, hey, there is a higher power, and His name is Yahweh, and His Son is Yahushai, and He does allow these things to take place to execute his fury and His vengeance upon the earth, and ultimately what this is a heavy foreshadowing of what's to come upon the earth. Okay, there's going to be a big time nuclear blast explosion that's going to wipe out almost an entire continent, and that continent is going to be the continent of North America, okay, which is today in the Bible referenced Babylon the Great. So we're going to grab some scriptures and actually show you people that things like this is actually written of in the Bible. You have prophets that had visions of the future, and they saw nuclear bombs going off, and that is the lake of fire that's supposed to happen when the Lord comes back. As far as everyone being judged by the Lord and being judged with fire, that's the fire. It's these missiles. And the Lord gave, the wicked the thoughts and the ideas on how to create the nuclear weapons to execute His fury and His vengeance. He wants the wicked to basically kill themselves and hang themselves with their own weapons. So He allowed them to create this thing, but He's going to get what He wants as far as His revenge out of it, and executing judgment upon the earth and burning up the wicked, and also to wake people up, to let people know that, hey, this is a permanent reminder of what not to do. Okay, so we'll go into it here. Just go through some scriptures come to mind and break this stuff down, because a lot of people have never heard of a nuclear weapon before. It's surprising, but a lot of this generation of these kids, and especially these teenagers, we get people to come by the camp and they've actually never even heard of a nuclear missile. Especially, Jake, so-called black people. A lot of them walking up, they've never heard of a nuclear bomb before, because they don't pay attention to history, and a lot of stuff it just really isn't being taught in school very well, and they don't teach things about historical events that happen. One of these bombs went off back in the 1940s. On Hiroshima in Japan. 2 nuclear bombs went off, and it took out an entire city. And these things are going to hit America, and they're going to hit on target and on time, and it's going to take everybody off guard. Okay, this is the book of Isaiah 66 and 16. For by fire and by His sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. So the Lord, it does actually kill, and He allowed men to get the thoughts that He put into their brains to create this weapon of mass destruction. Okay? Let's get that real quick. Alright, this is book of Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Okay, so Yahweh created Esau, And the whole Esau's whole purpose was to be about the fulfillment of prophecy of being that waster that destroys the wicked, as far as the earth being given into the hand of wicked. That's Esau, the devil, okay, which is the vast majority. Esau, the Edomites, is the nationality, the race of so-called quote-unquote white people, okay. Esau, this is why they have the technology and the weapons of mass destruction. They have machine guns. They got all types of weapons constantly being created, Gatling guns and biological warfare. All right, that's the wicked. Okay, it's Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. All right, so even though all these weapons have been created, it's not going to prosper against the Lord's hopeful elect. He's going to come and protect those that are chosen, and he's going to send his chariots to beam them up into safety before those missiles hit. Okay? So let's go a little bit further here. This is Deuteronomy 32:22. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundation of the mountains. That's thermonuclear destruction. All right. Now we can go into as far as the mushroom cloud is being in the Bible. Let's go up here, Book of Revelation. It's talking about nuclear blasts. Revelation 6:12. And I beheld, and when I had opened the sixth seal, and when he had opened the sixth seal, Salakia, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So blood moons and total solar eclipse is a foreshadow of a great earthquake to come. And that great earthquake is going to be talking about the shaking from the impact, the destruction, explosion of thermonuclear missiles and bombs. All right. Now we go on further here, verse 16, Revelation 6 and 13, Salakia. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth. The prophet is looking up into the sky, and he got them confused as being stars as far as falling from the sky, but really what he was seeing was the missiles coming into the atmosphere. And when you look up missile launches and missiles coming through the atmosphere, the light from the missile coming in, it does look like a star. And there's hundreds of thousands of these missiles that are going to be shot at one time in World War III. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as the fig casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So that mighty wind is that nuclear blast from the bomb explosions. And what happens in this explosion, you have buildings being obliterated and everything gets blown away like leaves off of a tree. And so he's giving you a comparison of what he's seeing in the future. All right, verse 14, here's the mushroom cloud. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Now, all right, if we get this real quick. Rolling scroll, so you can get the visual here. Let's just use a GIF, a GIF, whatever. Okay. Here's a good example here. See how that scroll is rolling? Pay attention to the sides of it. All right, let's let it play out one more time. See how the scroll is rolling there? All right. Rolling as a scroll. So now you get an idea, visual, as far as a scroll rolling. Okay. You see how it rolls, all right? If you're looking from the side, it's like on the side it's a spiral. Now, this is a mushroom cloud when it blows up. So you see those clouds rolling as a scroll. And if you don't, I've already researched the anatomy of a nuclear mushroom cloud. And as you can see, the direction of the cloud, the wind, as it's rolling is as such. See those arrows? It rolls as a scroll. Okay? So the prophet is giving you the best comparison of what he thinks that he has every day of what he's seen in the vision of the future. He doesn't have nuclear bombs back then and mushroom clouds. How could he describe what he's looking at? As far as terms of what he's seeing. Okay? And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, meaning everything was shifting. And after a super nuclear bomb attack happens like that with such massive scale, It's going to cause such an earthquake that the tectonic plates are going to shift. And literally the continents are not going to look the same after this destruction. America won't look like America no more. It's going to be all burnt up. It'll be burning for a really long time, like an eternal flame. And things will shift. Just like you had that one mass continent, Pangea, shifted into the continents that we have today. There's going to be another shift after this destruction. That blast is going to be so big, and it's going to happen so much. You know, everything's going to be reshifted again. Revelation 6:15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captain, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Now, what's that talking about? It's talking about doomsday bunkers, okay? There's a whole show on Netflix called Doomsday Preppers. All right. Here's an article from CNN. Super rich building doomsday bunkers. Now, what did the scriptures just say? What did the scriptures just say, what we just read? Let's run that back again. And the kings of the earth and the great men and rich men and chief captains and mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in dens and rocks in the mountains. All right, so we just brought that up. Okay, these are dens and rocks that's in the mountains right here. Bunkers, that's what it's talking about. They're prepping for a nuclear destruction. This is all prophecy right here. Okay, doomsday preppers, secret bunkers, the super uber rich, even the poor and the wealthy. They'll go into some various bunkers they may know, where, as far as local caves and things like that. They'll go into that. All right, so you can see a good example right here. This is Cheyenne Mountain Complex. These are all different types of various bunkers people are prepping. So the prophets, they get visions, and most of the time they get visions of the future. Let me look at this one, man. How laid out this thing is. You know, this is a bunker for the super uber rich, man. They got stuff like this because they know nuclear destruction is coming. And we're reading about this in the Bible as far as what vision the prophet got. And we're living in the time of that vision. And he saw doomsday bunkers in the mountains. And that's what we're reading right now within this scripture. You know, this is Revelation 6:15. I'll read it one more time. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the mountains, and dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Okay? And it says, Revelation 6:16, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So they're building these things to escape the judgment of the Lord. A lot of these elites, these super top people, they know this prophecy of when the Lord comes back that there's going to be thermonuclear destruction, war on the earth. This is why they're prepping, doomsday prepping, and having bunkers. They think that they're going to escape the wrath, the fury of the Lord, when they're not. Some of them will escape as far as the nuclear fire, and they'll be safe. But they would have been more lucky to take taste of that than to have to physically suffer the aftermath of that. Because what's going to come is the creatures and the beasts and the demons, and the Lord's going to wake up his hopeful elect as the angels become hunters. They're going to hunt them out of the rocks. We can get that. This is Jeremiah 16:16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahweh, and they shall fish them. And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. So the Lord basically told us, hey, they're going to hide themselves in the holes in the rocks, but they're going to hunt them out of the holes in the rocks. And when you get hunted by a death angel or the hopeful elect, the 144, that have been raised up to those spiritual bodies with vengeance, you're going to wish that you died of the thermonuclear destruction. Not only that, Leviathan's going to be released. And brother just shared a very powerful vision. One of the brothers in GMS Dallas showed a vision that he got of Leviathan getting unleashed on the earth. And that's one thing, one creature, according to that vision, you don't want to face. ultimately you can't escape it. You know? So let's go back. Let's see if there's any more meat on that bone in Revelation. Revelation 6 and 17. For the day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Alright? You're not going to be able to stand in that day. This is 2 Esdras 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot to the ends of the world. Okay, the prophet got a vision, a future of these things flying through the sky. And here's a good example right here. He says his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they be shot to the ends of the world. A physical man obviously cannot take a bow and arrow and use his arms and shoot an arrow from one continent to the next. It's not possible. So what is it talking about? It's talking about this. Alright? Didn't have missiles back in the ancient times, but he got a vision of the future, and he's describing what he's seeing as best as he could, and he's comparing it to an arrow. And here you got the fins to stabilize it in flight right here. Okay? Then you have the shaft of the arrow. Then you have the arrow head. You see how that works? And that's the exact same anatomy of a missile. You have the arrowhead, the head of the missile, which contains a nuclear warhead. You have the shaft or the body, which is going to contain the fuel, and you got the fins to stabilize it in flight. Thermonuclear missiles, what the prophet is describing. Now we can go on a little bit further. We go back in there. All right. Okay. For 2 Esdras 16 and 15, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues shall be sent upon the earth and shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Okay? Destruction, man. Destruction, ultimate destruction. All this is talking about is destruction. All right, let's go to another scripture here. I'll keep it moving. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh shall smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Meaning melting, burned up. Fire. That's that heat. When you get burnt like that, it's going to consume the eyes away in the holes as you stand. That's a lot of heat, man. This is 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. That's that sonic boom. Those missiles flying through the sky. That great noise. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Okay? It says the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Well, the nuclear weapons operate off of uranium. Okay? When you have two atoms splitting, it creates what they call nuclear fission. And that chain reaction from the atom splitting happens so fast simultaneously to where you get a nuclear explosion behind it. And it's so hot, they said it's going to be over 10 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And that has the ability to melt all elements. The elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Alright? So, let's talk about a nuclear bomb explosion, man. Revelation 9 and 17, this is describing the missiles. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that put on them, having breastplates of fire, and jackets and brimstone. Okay? That's radiation. Very, very highly flammable brimstone is. And the heads of the horses were the heads of lions. And out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Okay, well, out of the nuclear warheads comes a fire, smoke, and brimstone. It says the heads of lions is talking about great, powerful. It's not talking about describing literal faces of lions. It's talking about It's giving you a parable describing lying as something powerful, vicious, destructive. And out of their mouth issue fire and smoke and brimstone. Okay? By these three was the third part of men killed, by fire and by smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. So 1/3 of human beings on earth is going to be destroyed by these things. Okay? For power is in their mouth and in their tails. Their tails was like on the serpents, and their heads, and with them they do hurt. All right, so we get back that picture of the missiles. You know, we see them flying. Slovakia. I have to refresh this page here. Okay. There's power in their tails. Alright, so it's talking about the flight. You know, those nuclear thrusters that they have on the back. And they're flying, they leave a trail of smoke into the atmosphere. I was trying to look for a good example of that trail of smoke. You know, that kind of shows it. Here's a little bit clip there, one there. Okay. But you get the picture, man. Here we go, right here. Doesn't that look like a tail? See it flying into the atmosphere? Those are missiles, man. Also, it can look like a star falling from heaven. You see that? Thermonuclear destruction. Power in their tails. And their heads, in the head is the nuclear warhead. It's called a nuclear warhead. Power in their heads, okay? And with them, they do hurt. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works in their hands, and they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. So the Lord's going to continue to judge them too. They didn't repent. And that's when the Lord's going to come and crack that sky. Jeremiah 50:14, put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Modern day Babylon is America. So all these missile capable countries are going to shoot at Babylon, aim their guidance systems to hit over here in the United States. All that bend the bow, all that have that capability are going to fire and unload, man. Because they're going to catch on to all the wickedness, all the conspiracies. Shout against her round about. She hath given in her hand, the foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she has done, do unto her. So all these nations are going to come against this place. And you're going to see these mushroom clouds happen, man. Just like the videos was shared, you know, at the beginning, shared you the video of what happened, that bomb in Lebanon, how that video was shared, and you seen the destruction. You're going to have people recording on Snapchat, you know, people recording on Instagram, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, streaming, and other parts of the world that have internet capability are going to be watching this destruction. And seeing the horrors, seeing the power, the fury of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You know? So with that, I'm going to close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem HaKrakadash, the bodies of the elders and apostles of great millstone, time of truth and will well. Salutations to you, hopefully, was pushing this truth in all honesty and sincerity. Shalom, above all.